going on? Well, I wanted to do this video. I've actually been wanting to do it for a while, and I talked about this in another video about 10 years ago, so I thought it'd be nice to update it in 2019, so that's what I'm doing today. Now, what I want to talk to you about is nervousness and how it relates to our DJ business. Now, one thing I do want to mention, though, is that I think that nervousness can be a great thing. And you're thinking, okay, well, why would it be a great thing? I wouldn't think that. Well, that's probably what you would think, and it's counterintuitive to what we would, naturally think, that nervousness would be a bad thing. But really, I don't think it's a bad thing at all. And I'm going to tell you why, okay? Think about this for a second. When you're doing a wedding reception or something like that, and you're the DJ, we have this enormous responsibility on us. We really do. I mean, we have to have that reception perfect. And of course we want our other events to be perfect, like school dances and parties and things of that nature, but when we're doing a wedding, that's the most important day in someone's life. There are no do-overs. We have to get it perfect the first time. And I really, equate our business with maybe that of an airline pilot. The airline pilot, when he takes off and lands the plane, he has to be absolutely perfect when he does it. And, it's kind of like the space shuttle. If you remember the space shuttle, when it flew a few years ago, and I've used this illustration before in other videos, and also, talked about it on the different Facebook pages and things of that nature. But when the space shuttle flew, I don't know if you really realize this or not, maybe some of you younger guys really don't, but when it landed like an airplane, but here's the thing, it didn't have an engine in it. And so it was a glider, and what that means is that the pilot or the astronaut, he had to land that thing perfectly every time. He only had one shot at making it perfect. I mean, if he missed the runway or overshot the runway or something like that, he couldn't turn around and do a different approach because he couldn't climb back up. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that I try to compare our business to when it comes to talking about doing things perfectly. It's just the same thing with us. I mean, we're doing wedding receptions. It has to be absolutely perfect. We've got one chance to make that work, and we have to get it right every time. And yeah, to be honest with you, in 16 years, I still get nervous when I do weddings. I don't get as nervous, but yeah, there's a little part of me that is nervous, and like I said, that's normal. And I don't see anything wrong with that, because I think that when you're nervous, you're going to do your best work. Okay, maybe you're thinking, okay, what does he mean by that? Well, think about this for a second. Think about the last time you were nervous. You're probably double checking and making sure that everything was going right. You're going to pay a lot more attention to what you're doing if you're nervous, and you're going to be a lot more careful too. Okay, now maybe you're thinking, okay, well, wait, I don't understand that. Well, let me give you a good illustration on that, okay? Now, let's say that I own a car insurance company, and you're one of my clients, okay? And you've been one of my clients for several years, and you bought car insurance from me. Well, let's say this morning you're on your way to a gig or to work or wherever you had to go. You probably stopped through a drive-through and probably ate your lunch or something like that while you were driving, and maybe you were, sending a text message or checking email while you were driving. I know you're not supposed to do that. That's actually against the law here in Florida, but I know people still do it anyway. I mean, people are still going to do it. Or maybe you went, 5 miles over the speed limit or something like that. Think about this for a second, okay? Why did you do all those things? Because in the back of your head, subconsciously, you've got insurance, and if something happens, I mean, you don't want anything to happen, but if something does happen, you're covered. It makes sense. So, you're probably not as careful as you should be because you're covered. Well, now, let's say tonight that after you go to bed, I come to your house and I put a little note underneath your windshield, and you wake up tomorrow morning, you see that note from me, and I tell you that your insurance was canceled as of midnight last night. Okay, so that means tomorrow morning when you get up and go to work or church or, a gig or whatever you got to go, you don't have insurance now. So I kind of doubt that you're probably going to, drive through that drive-through and eat and send that text message. You're probably going to not speed because you don't want the police to pull you over and find out you don't have insurance. So you're going to be a lot more careful. You're going to be paying a lot more attention to your driving tomorrow than you were today, because you don't have that assurance of knowing that you're covered if it happens. It's the same thing. So think about that for a second, okay? And, for me, whenever I do a wedding reception, I plan everything out. I double, I triple, I quadruple check it, in the days leading up to the wedding. And then on the morning of the wedding, I'm right here in the Oval Office double checking, making sure everything's where it needs to go. And, it's just a constant process. I want to make sure that it's absolutely perfect. And I do that by just constantly repeating things and, making sure that I'm paying, extra attention to what I'm doing. And like I said, I am nervous when I do weddings every once in a while, and that's fine. That's nothing wrong with that. It can actually be a good thing. So just remember that. Don't stop that from doing that gig, or thinking, okay, I can't do this gig because I'm nervous or anything like that. Remember, I think Rocky Balboa even said it. He said your best friend is Frankie Fear. And I found that to be so true. You know, I really have found that out. So, yeah, you know, if you got any comments on this, just leave them right down below, or you can send me an email. My email address is right there on the screen, and we'll chat about it, okay? So until next time, practice and enjoy.